About 20 minutes ago, my friend asked me a really interesting question. Right now, we're in an Airbnb in Puerto Vallarta, which is this really cool beach town in Mexico. And he's seen me through this trip that we've been on meditate and do breath work every single morning. In one of our last places, we were staying in the same room, we had different beds, and he literally woke up to me doing like a crazy breathwork technique where my hands were going in the air and I was exhaling like I was like exhaling really aggressively and he woke up like really confusing me like that. I mean, like, I know it looks crazy, like what some of the stuff I do. And he asked me today though, he was like, what actual benefit do you get from doing that meditation thing? Because through the years, he's listened to a lot of my different advice about nutrition, protein. He's gotten into the gym. He stayed consistent with it. He's seen improvements in his body, his mind from some of the different habits that he's seen me do and he's seen me get benefits from. Except this one was a bit more foreign to him. Like, what about meditation? Like, aren't you just sitting there with yourself? Isn't it boring? Aren't you just staring at your wall? Like, Sonny, what are you doing? You're wasting your time, right? But he also has this faith and knowledge that, like, no, Sonny, he owns a business. He's doing good in his life. I've seen him transform himself immensely. If he's doing this every single day, it must be for some good reason, right? That was kind of the vibe I was getting from him. I know I just spoke a lot about probably things he didn't think about, but how I internalized it, you know? And my answer was that at the peak of the meditation, I experienced ego death. And it's not something that most people get to the first couple times that they meditate. It's not something you get to even in your first 6 months of consistent meditation. But when you stick with the practice long enough, you actually experience this phenomena that most people only experience when they take psychedelics, when they take mushrooms, when they take DMT, ayahuasca. When you stick to meditation, when you allow your whole nervous system to adjust to that state of consciousness that you're able to get to, that you're not able to attain, but instead that you return back to. Meditation is about stripping off the layers of conditioning. It's about stripping off your need to grasp and identify with your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, with your beliefs, all these different layers we've put on ourselves since we've been born. Meditation strips away all of that and leaves behind the beautiful, raw, perfect nature that you truly are. And trying to describe this to someone is incredibly difficult. That's why you don't get a lot of, spiritual gurus or a lot of people that talk about this online, because it's incredibly difficult. Because it has this backwards thing where what we're pointing to here when we talk about the greatest benefit of meditation, when we talk about our true nature, what we're pointing at here cannot be constrained to a label, to a word. Even when someone says, I'm enlightened, or they say that word enlightenment, or they say the word infinity. All of these point to a very similar thing that we all know about. Another word is truth with a capital T, or being with a capital B. All of these things point to something very similar that we can all grasp at, that we can all feel into, especially with a lot of practice. But using words, using these constructs, these conceptualizations, all it does is it gives you something that you're like, oh, that's what that is. And you feel very certain about what that is, about what being is, but what truth is. And so that's why you don't see this a lot online. And so I preface how I'm describing this with that, because don't take what I say as truth. Don't be like, okay, he said it's this infinite void that you feel into. It's that perfect rawness inside of you. Therefore, now I know what this is, what meditation will get me to. Now I know the truth. I do not give you permission to take my words and say and keep it as truth like that. No. What I want you to do is to take this and be like, okay, I have faith now that if I continue to do this practice, that if I keep asking myself the same questions, if I show up every day and build the habit of meditation, then maybe I will grasp my own truth within the practice and I will attain ego death, or I will return to where my ego is dead. This is some of the most important work you can do in your entire life. I've attained a lot of my dreams now. I'm living as a digital nomad. I'm just working from my laptop. I feel like I have the freedom to go see my friends wherever they are, to travel there, to stay with them, and just work off my laptop and make money. Yet, for so long, I put so much weight on this goal that once I achieve this, then I'll be happy. I've done this many times. Once I lose weight, then I'll be happy. Then I lost 65 pounds. Then I lost the weight. And was I happy? Yeah, I was hyped. I was like, oh my God, I did it. This goal is so important to me. Oh my God, I did. I looked in the mirror at the gym. I was so hyped. I was benching 2 plates. I was so happy. And yet that faded. And what replaced it was another goal. Then I was like, okay, I got to make money. I got to make 10K a month. And so I got to 10K a month. And what did I want next? I wanted 100K a month. And yes, I'm building a business that's progressing towards that goal right now. I just don't let it consume me like it used to. At a certain point, on the way to achieving these macro goals of yours, these huge ambitions, you have to be able to let go and detach to the actual goal itself. You cannot let your happiness system, your ability to be fulfilled by life, be contingent on the actual achievement of the goal. Why? Because that is going to be changing. The amount of money you're making every month is going to be changing. Every single day, the amount of money you're making is going to be changing. The work changes, the results change, the output changes, the view changes, like the views of the videos, the whatever output you're seeking, it will always be changing. And you cannot put something as important as your fulfillment, as your happiness on something that is changing. Because then what's going to happen to your fulfillment and happiness? It's also going to be changing. And that's where most people are stuck at. They're just putting it on these goals that are changing. They're putting their happiness on a partner that is going to be different throughout the day, every day. That's the nature of reality, is that it's changing. Everything is always changing. And so what meditation does, what benefit you get from this practice, is you learn, you experience, you feel into that which doesn't change. And just the realization, the glimpse of that which doesn't change is enough to change your life completely. And then when you go deeper and deeper, you meditate more and more, you do a silence retreat, you get coaching from people who are ahead of you, you meet an enlightened master. That's when you can sink deeper and deeper and feel into more that which doesn't change. That's that which is all pervading. And from there, you attain true peace, joy, fulfillment. And it's rooted in something real, rock solid, more solid than anything you have ever experienced. That is the benefit of meditation. And I hope that sways at least one person out there to just take this practice a bit more seriously, because God damn, it changed my life completely. Thanks for watching this video. Check out my stuff in the description, other videos, do whatever. Have a blessed day. Peace.